Welcome to the Women in Gaming show for, what month is it? April.
Yeah.
Where are we? Yeah. So, hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Fawcett, and I'm here with Ashley McKissick, head of Xbox Game Pass, who's our special guest today. And as always, I feel like this is Wayne's World now. And as always, my cat here with me today. So we're super excited for today's show. So we're going to play some games with Ashley. We're going to talk a lot about Game Pass, which is great. And then it's also a double header day where after the show ends, stay on because we're actually airing the full hour-long panel from last week's Women in Gaming rally that happened
GDC.
at GDC in San Francisco. So I don't even think I've seen it all. So I'm going to watch after as well. So this is our monthly live stream. We talk about, we highlight women here at Xbox that are working in the industry. We talk about a lot of industry things that are going on, diversity and inclusion initiatives. And the prompter says today is our 10th show.
Already?
No,
I did not know that.
Hey,
we did a good
we should have
job.
had a birthday cake or
We
something.
should have.
Yeah.
Lost opportunity right there. We
Yeah,
have to do
lost
that on the 20th.
opportunity. Yeah.
I guess.
The next one, we'll have to catch it.
Congrats,
Yep.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We didn't even know it, but thank you. Okay, so let's run through how the show is going to work. So we're going to talk about what we're currently playing. And then we're going to do snaps, which are shout outs to just people doing great things in the industry. Then we'll do one-ups and game overs where we just talk about industry news that is awesome. And then some things that are maybe not so awesome, but feel like we should talk about anyway. You at home can always participate on the chat we've got going here. So Kat will interrupt us at any time to ask burning questions. Feel free to throw it into the chat and follow us on @WomenInGaming on Twitter and Instagram. And then it also says that we have emotes. So we do have our own kind of custom emotes. There's ones I say like girl power.
There's a lot of them and they're super cool. For you to use them in the chats and our Mixer channel, you have to follow us. So make sure you follow us to use the emotes and also to get notified for the next time we go live, which is very useful.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about what we're currently playing, and we want to start with Ashley.
Well, so I'm playing a couple of indie darlings right now.
Nice.
One is this game Oxenfree.
It's so good. I've played it.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It was such a surprise because I was like, well, the cover looks cool. I'll just play it. And then I was just like hooked.
Well,
for the entire time.
there's so much like 80s nostalgia right now.
Yes.
And like, so it was just such a fun game to sort of like pick up and have no context about.
Yep.
Yeah.
But just like, who are these people and what are
What's
they
going
doing?
on?
And and the radio angle, like
Yeah.
it's so
was really good.
clever and fun.
Finished it.
I haven't finished it either,
Okay,
so
good.
no spoilers.
Yeah.
Please. No
Okay, I'll
spoilers.
shut up.
It was longer than I thought. Like I think
It is long.
I think I picked it up thinking, oh, I'll play this like for a few hours.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is
No, it's
pretty
long. It's like 8 to 10 hours,
it?
I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was really, really good and really worth it.
Super worth it. Super
And
worth it.
it was just one of those games when you get home and I'm like, I don't want to like overthink. I just like, tell me the story. I'll go and do whatever you tell me to.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting at the couch and play through it. It was good.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I am too.
Yeah.
Like in my gaming right now, it's like
Yep.
when I kind of want to chill.
Yeah.
And not like sort of be competitive and kind of just get into the story.
I know. Yeah.
And so the other game that I'm just super like enthralled with is this game called What Remains of Edith Finch,
Which we're
and-
playing today.
which we are going to play today.
Yes.
Which is
and
one of
it
my
just
favorite games.
Yeah.
instantly hooked me. And I, heard about it. Well, of course, we knew it was coming to
Yes.
Game Pass, but one of the women on the team was playing it, and she was like, "You have to try this,
It
Ashley."
is.
So
yeah.
she was totally right. Thank you, Bridget, if
Nice.
you're watching.
Thank you.
I'm playing it because of you.
Yeah.
So
Have you finished it?
I have not finished
Oh,
it, so
okay.
no spoilers either.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
That one's tough.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's such a good game. I'd be interested to know, where are you in the game? Because it's a pretty short game.
I am not very far, and
Okay.
which is perfect because we're going to start from the beginning.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So I just kind of was at the where you turn into the owl and,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
the shark
yeah.
and the
Okay.
that level is just hilarious.
Yeah.
To me, so.
Because I love recommending that game for people that just like it. took me
Usually don't
90
play games.
Yeah, 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours to finish the game,
Yep.
which is there's not many games like that. It
Right.
would be like one and done. But and I think what I love about this game, and I'm glad we're revisiting on stream today, is it sits with you. Like after you finish the game, you kind of can't stop thinking about it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I will not spoil it just
Okay.
because there's so much that happens towards the ending.
Absolutely.
But it is one of those games that literally imprints on you, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Holy, I was not expecting this."
Yeah, exactly this.
Yeah.
I had exactly the same feeling when I finished. Like I kept thinking about it days and days after I
Yeah.
played it, and I could not stop recommending it to people. And I think it's also a really good game for people who usually do not play games.
Yeah.
Just because one, it's really short, and the storytelling and how like the mechanics of the game are easy. to grasp. But the storytelling is just so
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to finishing
Awesome.
it. One of the things also on the team that we're trying to put together is like these there's actually a chat discussion about what we would call this like
Yeah.
Saturday snack pack or like what are
Yeah.
these smaller games that you can play over a weekend or just in a
Yep.
few hours.
Yep.
So if you don't have so much time, to get through like a full giant campaign.
Totally.
So we're working on it. Hopefully
Yeah.
roll that out.
I call them
soon.
palate cleansers because sometimes you're just so invested in like 100-hour game and you just want, or you grind for those achievements or whatever, and you're just like, I just want like pop those chivos, like 3 hours and done.
Well, right. Like at my core, like I'm an RPG gamer.
Yeah.
And so like I am used to spending
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim
Yeah.
was like 300 hours. Like
Yeah,
I am just
totally.
such a like RPG
Yeah, deep
fangirl.
in it,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I don't even know how many hours I've put into Dragon Age
Yeah.
across the
Oh,
three.
Yep.
Especially Inquisition. So it's nice
Yeah.
to just sort of like break out of that and to have
Exactly.
something, just kind of just like totally different and
Totally.
spark something with just a creative story. So
Yep.
I'm kind of loving indies right now.
Awesome. Very cool. Kat, what are you playing? I'm always
What am I
interested to
playing?
see-
So I'm still playing Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh my
So I started that
God.
when it first came out, but I'm very.
We're
What
gonna
was
get
that?
into it. We're gonna
What-
get into it about that game.
Do you still not like it?
I'm at the boss fight. I loved Kingdom Hearts, okay? Let me just say, this is going to be controversial. People are going to be mad at me. I loved Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I am not enjoying 3.
Really?
The
like it.
game is like 5 minutes of gameplay.
Oh, by the
20
way,
minutes of cutscenes.
Our staff is just shaking their heads
Are
at
you
you
gonna
right
say-
now.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
So this is a
This is a hot topic.
controversial right
It
here.
is. It
It
is.
is nonsense. The game is nonsense.
No.
And the cutscenes, it's
so good.
It's nonsense. And there's so many cutscenes. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, I'll
That's
let
the
you finish.
beginning of the game, though. I feel like
No,
it gets
doesn't.
better.
It does
really?
not get better.
I'm in the frozen.
Where's the
world now.
popcorn, guys?
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Anyways,
Okay. Keep going. I want to hear why you love it.
No, I just find it really fun to play. It's just
Okay.
one of those games that I go in and I play for whatever time I want to play, and I'm killing enemies
Yep.
and I'm just progressing through the story. I'm really attached to all of those characters,
Yep.
and I'm really invested in the story because I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yeah.
And so
You had
yes.
Can we pause there for a second because you used to be a moderator, right, on a Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts
a
forum.
forum at GameSpot like 15 years, well, not 15 years ago, but like 10 years ago. So yeah,
you
no,
are-
I was, hardcore. I also freaked out when I just saw that we have a Sora
Yeah.
Funko Pop right there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I really want to steal that one. So
Yeah.
if it disappears, it wasn't
Oh,
me.
we know.
I don't know where it went.
But I actually started playing Destiny 2, which I realize I'm really late into the game, but the problem is I don't have a lot of time to play games anymore. Kingdom Hearts was taking all of my time, but I started playing Destiny, which was a mistake because I'm really enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Like really enjoying the game. So Kingdom Hearts is kind of like, no, I'm not playing it anymore,
Yeah.
and I've been progressing almost level 20, so it's
Wow.
been a lot of fun
Yeah.
to actually start and playing a multiplayer game again, which I miss dearly. I think the last one I invested a lot of time on was either Gears 4 and then Call of Duty
Yeah.
World War II. So I'm happy. I'm enjoying
You're
the hell out of
back.
it. Yes, I'm back.
Awesome. So I think I'm last, and I'm playing I just finished Devil May Cry 5.
How was it?
I loved it. So one, I can say Devil May Cry 5 was what I wanted Kingdom Hearts to be in terms of there's a lot of story, but it doesn't drag on cutscenes. It gets to the cutscene, and then I actually have a substantive piece of action, which is my biggest gripe with Kingdom Hearts is I felt like 95% of the time I had my controller down. I was actually playing like Candy Crush, waiting for
Wow.
cutscenes to end.
They're not skippable?
They are,
But then you miss the context.
Yeah, you miss
There's
the
no.
context
I
and-
did not feel like that at all.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. It's very different. So Devil May Cry is also just like an extremely like over the top franchise. Like you're these demon hunters that you're like basically fighting the devil in hell, but you're kind of like a goth boy that's like really just like
I've
very
played the first
extra.
3.
Yeah, it's just like very ridiculous, like very, it's a Capcom game. It's kind of in the vein of like Bayonetta or any of those kind of like old school kind of Japanese games. Some stuff is like borderline, like offensive, like it maybe doesn't work in the total environment that we're in, but it's just so ridiculous over the top. At one point, you get like this weapon that is a motorcycle. And it basically like splits into half, almost like a chainsaw, and you're like killing people with the motorcycle. Like, it's
sounds
just,
like fun.
ridiculous.
That sounds very anime.
It is. It's
Yeah.
like just like over the top insane, and you're just fighting like these demonic hell creatures and stuff. So it was just like a load of fun. And so I was really like pleasantly surprised. I kind of picked it up thinking I'll play a little bit here and there. And then the other thing I like about it is the missions are. I kind of like with the indie games, like I can play an hour mission and then like leave and come back, and I don't have to like pick up where I left off, and it's kind of a button masher, so I don't have to remember every combo move and stuff like that. So yeah, I highly recommend it if you just kind of want to turn your brain off a little bit and kick some demon ass.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, so we are going to segue into playing What Remains of Edith Finch and talk a little bit to Ashley. So Ashley, do you want to play and talk at the same time, or you want Kat to play? Whatever
Whatever you prefer, because it's
skill.
usually
So,
it's
Well, so I think I'm not. I think I'm not going to multitask very well.
Okay.
So I think Kat should maybe play.
I can play.
But I will start.
Okay,
But
sounds good.
first, I feel like we need to talk about this controller.
Yeah, we do.
Because like I have never seen this before. Apparently, we are not the first people to play with it because the staff have had this for a couple of weeks.
That's
but,
right.
But this is the Phantom White controller. I don't know if you can
so
see through
cool.
it. You can see in the components in here. It is just like
It's
a thing. It is
gorgeous.
gorgeous. It is
Yeah,
a
I
thing of
hadn't
beauty.
seen it before, and when I got here, I was like, "Ooh, that looks way cooler in
know.
real life
So
than
now
in
I want
pictures."
one.
Now,
Yeah,
If this one goes missing, then you know who to blame for me. Which is-
Kingdom Hearts.
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of
Funkos.
people wanting to steal things from this
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah,
you
need a
certainly do.
security guard,
Yeah, you have too many toys in here, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
grab and dash.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
here we
So
go.
Here we go. So this is the opening of the game. So Kat, I think we're gonna hand the controller over to
Oh,
you.
Yeah,
sorry.
we should put on subtitles so that people.
Oh,
we
yeah,
should.
that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
So that. Where are they?
Dialogue?
Dialogue.
No, that's the sound, right?
Is there no subtitles?
If there is actually.
Oh, well, but they do actually put the subtitles on. They kind of.
Okay.
All right.
So do you in your playing of the game, do you kind of know what's happening? Like, do you have or you're like, I have no idea what. Like, I'm on a boat, and then you go to this.
There's no context.
Yeah.
There's no
That's right.
context. You're on a boat,
Okay.
and you can't hear the girl is speaking.
Yeah.
But you're just on. You have no context.
Yeah.
There's no preamble. That this is just what you see,
That's right.
and so it just immediately grips you because you're like, what's going on?
I know.
I think it's yeah.
I think you flip over.
Yeah, and then you use the stick. There we go.
Okay.
So, Ashley, let's talk a little bit about you. What does being head of Xbox Game Pass mean?
What does that mean? That's a really good question because it's like super generic
Yes.
name. So it means that I run the product team, so engineering and program management, and then a virtual team across
here until I
design
was
and
11,
partner
but I
with
wasn't
marketing
allowed
and
into
PR and everything to kind of like
Full beast.
the full. Oh, I like that. The
Yeah.
full beast.
Yeah.
I think I might need to borrow that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. Wow. So Game Pass is it a year old now?
Inside the
It
mailbox
is,
were
right?
bills
It
from
is,
7
yeah,
years
well,
ago.
more, a year and a
than a
half.
year and a
Yeah,
half.
so
Okay.
Game Pass was born,
Yeah.
I had
on,
it back 'cause
June
my brother
1st
loses
of
his
2017.
Okay.
So,
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a
Yeah,
while.
that's awesome. So how did we like to ask people how they kind of got their role
In a
into the
will,
gaming
my mother
world?
left
Like,
me a
is
key,
it
but didn't tell
because
me
we
what
all
it
have different
unlocked.
paths in? Like you
Maybe
ask
she thought I'd know.
anybody, and it's such
Or
a random
she thought
story.
a
Sometimes how we
mystery
end
enough
here
to bring
end
me
up here
back.
at Xbox. What is your story?
So my story is that I got into computer science because I'm super bad at chemistry.
Okay.
So like, true
That's a
story.
good reason.
No, true story. So I was I
Someone
I
took me
entered
this way in a
school
long time,
like
but I
80%
saw
of the
you
entering
have
class
Okay.
as a pre-med.
Oh, cool.
And then I took this. I was signing up for this chemistry class. It was required for pre-med. And as I was signing up, an upperclassman came up to me and he was like, "You know what? Don't do it. Just walk away.
What?
You're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it." I was like,
truth is-
"No. I'm gonna do
Even
this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be pre-med." So of course, I
never
took the
thought I'd
class.
come
There were
back to
600,
it.
militant pre-meds in
now I
there,
have
and it was
questions about my
really
family
hard
being
and
house
awful.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the competitive environment. And I played games like, since I was a kid,
Yep.
my whole life. And so I was taking this CS class as an elective, just kind of
Yeah.
for fun.
Like
Playing
And
around,
way I can
basically.
dream.
and then I was like, wow, this CS thing is not what I thought it was. It's
Yeah.
actually like way more creative
As a child,
than I was
the house made
expecting.
me
And
uncomfortable
and our
in a
last
way I
project
couldn't
was
put
we got to
into
write a video
words.
game. And so I was like, well, this is kind of rad.
Yeah.
Like the pre-med is awful, and this
Yeah.
is actually cool.
Yeah.
So so I'm going to switch.
Oh, nice.
And so that's really how I got started on my computer science journey.
I was
Oh,
afraid
very
of the
cool.
house.
Kind of like unexpected, was it more like kind of realizing like, oh, this could be a career path for me where
I
Yeah.
hoped
hadn't
he might
considered
unlock
that
the front
before?
door.
Yeah, I
It
just hadn't. I have 3 brothers.
Yeah.
They're all in the computer science industry, but for
Yeah.
some reason I didn't seem to be like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's for me.
That's for me.
Yeah.
Until I actually experienced it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like graph paper and tables, and
Yeah,
it was actually
exactly.
like creative.
Do you
So-
remember what that game was that you made?
Yeah. Well, so
Curious.
we had to write Hunt the Wumpus.
Okay.
And then we had to write our own. So it was, like a text-based
Yeah.
adventure game.
Swings
Very
that was older
cool.
than my
Yeah.
mother.
I love those games.
I did
We need to bring those back.
Right, like
more.
Zork. Did you play
Yeah,
Zork?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
And
as
the
a little
only
kid.
thing is we had Thimbleweed Park like last year or whatever.
Oh,
It's like, I
I-
hope these games come back and people love them.
Well, there's-
That was a really good game
that was
too.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then how do you end up from a computer science degree to Microsoft?
Well, funny story.
Yeah.
So I went to school in the Bay Area
Around in
Okay.
the garage.
and worked in startups every summer,
Okay.
like you do.
Yeah.
And then, but my buddy Nick had gone up to work for Microsoft.
Yeah.
And he was, hassling me after I graduated to come up and interview.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, man, Microsoft is the Borg. Like, I'm just going to do like a startup thing
Yeah.
here. And he was like, no, actually, like, it's super cool. Like,
Yeah.
how would you think? And I was like, dude, no, it's
Like,
the
you're
Borg.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right. And he's like, look, it's a free trip. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I came up and actually I interviewed with this team. It was a small, like, startup team. And doing a hardware,
Okay.
and it was like, oh, that's really cool. I'm intrigued by learning the ins and outs of that type
Yeah.
of tech. This 35-person
You
team.
need help. I don't know where to go.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
Pause the story.
Okay.
Or you
Yeah.
go to the front door.
Did
No,
you go to the
but
front
I-
door? Did
yeah.
you peek in?
No.
You gotta peek in. Yeah. So go down there, and then
There you
Yeah.
go.
yeah, there.
Looking in,
Um,
I felt like
that
the
was-
house had been waiting for me.
Well, no, it's all good. And then you're going to want to
okay.
go around the side of the house.
also
There's some more
to the left?
peepholes. Yeah, go around the left side of the house because you're going to want to crawl in the the cat door.
Yeah, that's right. The cat door.
Oh, went there.
Well, you had to go.
Oh,
look
I
at
had
the-
also
to
don't
pee
have
first.
virtue of her. I think if she's talking, I forget if.
No,
sometimes
they're
she-
not helping you through this.
No.
But so look in that peephole because that's hey, guys. No, don't.
Oh,
not
okay.
yet. Look
Yeah,
at
I
the
did
peephole
that.
this is a collectible thing. So zoom in with the right trigger.
Yeah, I did that already.
Okay, so you already did
Yeah,
that.
achievement.
So now you want to go in through here. If you just push in through the dog door, you'll go inside.
How do I? Oh, wow.
There. Yeah. So now you're in the house, and
Okay.
then stuff starts to
Okay.
get real.
There we go.
It used to be a lot easier when I
Cool.
was 11.
Now
Anyways,
you get to go down
totally
Yeah,
all the
interrupted.
dark
Right. So
memories.
now you just can just like there's lots of interactables, and so yeah. Cool.
Cool. Okay, so you came up to
Yeah.
Redmond,
Right.
essentially.
And so I really love this team. They were kind of like started being cool, and so I joined the
For
team.
first time in years,
And in the way of things,
I felt like
in
I was
a
home.
year and a half or so later, there was a reorg.
As
Right? Ooh,
per tradition.
per tradition. We have a rich
Yes.
history of reorgs.
Yep.
And my team was reorged into this other team
Okay.
in
The
Media
table was
Center,
still erect,
Oh.
then I
and
left.
where, weirdly,
Yeah.
my friend Nick was working.
Oh, so is this what the media center, which everybody, all these '90s childs would
My
remember,
mom
with
was the only one
the
of us who could imagine
Yeah.
a great
player,
grandmother
the
being
video
in nursing
player?
home.
This is where the cable you plug your cable from
Right.
your cable box
Yes.
into or your cable
your
modem
TV.
into your PC
Nothing in the
in your
house
living
was
room,
abnormal.
and then
was
my
just
role was working
too
on the
much of it,
Xbox
like a
client.
smile.
Oh,
On the receiving end of it. And so I actually, in my office, and this is true, I have an OG Xbox dev kit, like the original Xbox
wow.
dev kit, one of my most
Very cool.
prized possessions.
Yeah.
With the IR receiver that was plugged in through the dongle.
nice.
But yeah, so I worked on
Great-grandma
clients
Sven
for
built a music
streaming
box
video.
for Barbara.
Awesome.
And then
Along with the
for
rest
a
of the
few
house.
years in Media Center, and then joined the Xbox platform team after that.
Mom always
So
told me to
I've been
stay out of
an
things
Xbox
of
a long
it,
time.
yeah,
so I
you're an
wasn't too
OG for
surprised
sure.
when
You
That's
are
right.
an OG, just like that OG.
And now I feel
Nicole.
old. Thank you, Nicole.
No, no. We like to call it industry veterans.
Oh,
With a lot of
That's
experience.
sophisticated.
Yep.
a lot of things got left behind in the
Yeah.
world, I did that
So
last night.
what's interesting about you, and we've had lots of guests on the show. We've had like Shannon and Bonnie that have kind of been in the game world for a long time. But you are interesting in that you're a
Milton
software
disappeared.
engineer, right?
Right.
Mom sealed up
But
all the
and
bedrooms.
you basically have built your career in the
Then
engineering
Edie retired
organization.
That's
because
right.
she drove
Mhm.
peep
Like
holes.
very, I mean, definitely, whether you're in game dev or not, it is still part of development for sure. But that is
Grandpa Sam
that's an
spent
interesting
7 years
landscape to
sharing a room
be,
with his
and
dead
especially
brother.
kind of as a woman.
Helping.
What has like your experience been? Has it been? I mean, obviously, there's always going to be. We're paving a path.
Right.
There's lots of stuff going on, but overall, like, how has it been being in an engineering team?
Well, mostly it's been just super positive.
That's great.
As a kid,
Yeah,
I used to
I've
swing every
always
house with
loved
peepholes
the
and sealed rooms you weren't allowed
work
inside of.
that I've done.
Yeah.
Like once I started working on streaming video as a coder, as a dev, like I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And I found that so early in my career. I just am so lucky because once you find an area to really focus on and be passionate about, then you're just that much more motivated, to do well. I will say, like, there
His
have been
father
some
Odin
funny
built the
moments,
original house.
where I was communicating over email, and this was probably my first year,
Right.
with some folks in the media division.
Yeah.
Barbara was
And
a child star for
they
2
sent mail
years,
to my
until
boss,
America
actually,
grew
my
out of it.
boss's boss, and they said, "Who is this Ashley dude?"
Oh,
And I was like, because
Wow.
seriously, yes, seriously, because statistically speaking,
yeah.
Tracy, Stacy, Ashley
Right.
are all more guy
people ask
names
me about
than
my
girl
family.
names.
Oh.
The
In
first thing they
in the
always wanna know
past,
about
so in the
is Barbara.
past. With that said, but I've seen so much progress. In fact, on the Game Pass team,
Yeah.
Mom
we
must have
just
locked the door
recently,
upstairs
over the
when Max
last
left.
few weeks, welcomed our third Ashley to the team.
Yay!
So I feel like we've come so
Statistically,
long.
the Ashleys are
Yeah.
growing.
Right. That was just a big day because normally we've had like crowds of Shanes and
Sure.
like Mikes and everything,
Yeah.
but like to have a third Ashley, it was
That's
like
amazing.
all girls.
Yeah.
Was quite a momentous occasion
Yeah.
for us.
Do you feel like there's maybe just some bad perceptions or just some
I spent a lot of
stereotypes
time
that
playing in
engineering
Great
is
Uncle
largely
Walter's
men,
room.
but that's not really the
I
reality?
think my mom
or
sometimes
is
regretted
it
not sealing it up.
or is it's so hard to tell based on people's where you're working
He
or
always told me there were
Well, I think
secret passages, but I never
we definitely do have more work to do as
Yeah.
an industry.
yeah
To have a more equal representation.
out.
yeah
My mom
And
was really good at keeping
but I think we are
secrets.
making progress. and both as a
Yeah.
company and as an industry.
Yeah.
And the good news is, like, the more progress we make, the
Yeah.
easier it is to make more progress.
Yeah,
because
snowball effect.
Right, because part of the
Yeah.
problem is, like,
I've been
if
afraid
you
of.
don't if you don't see yourself, then how can you, like, think of it as being something like for
Maybe
me
it's
in
Totally.
computer science when I was
But I had no idea
a
what
freshman
was
in
behind
college.
it.
Like, I didn't see myself in that industry,
Yeah.
in that space. But so the more we are able to, like, show that you don't have to, look like a stereotypical
Yep.
programmer,
Yeah.
then more people will maybe give it a shot.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's kind of what I meant my comment by a little bit is, sometimes,
Dear Diary,
so I'm in the
I'll
marketing
be
side,
gone
which is
soon,
definitely
but I
more
wanted to tell
female, there's more
somebody
female
about what's gonna
representation.
happen.
And you see more
It
women,
started when Mom sent me
at
to bed
events or
without
whatever. But
dinner.
engineering
I woke up
always
and I
feels
was
like this
starving.
black box.
So I looked down
Engineering,
and
right? And you're just like, what is that? So it is awesome to have more
gerbil
kind of
food was
visibility
dry,
to the
but I
people
didn't
that
mind
are, doing the work and like representing for the team. And so that's
My
awesome
Halloween
to hear.
candy was
Yeah.
all
This part is really funny because
Yeah.
she's just chowing down. You're gonna have to go and eat some toothpaste too in the bathroom.
I can barely see.
Yeah.
Need
The
to
slide
like
is-
We,
the
we
glare,
can fix the brightness. Do you want to go to the settings? Fix
I
the
can
brightness.
do that.
Yeah, that might help.
crank it.
Crank it. Yeah. hmm
There you go. Much better.
I kept eating and
That's
eating.
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, there you go.
So we always actually, I don't know if any of us were looking at the chat, even though we
Oh.
promised we would.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
We had some issues. We had some issues. It's
Chat was
but it's
broken.
fine now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If anybody sees any questions that we should go back and revisit,
Then I
please
heard chirping
shout them
outside
out.
My window.
Okay. So typically a big, question we always get all the time from
It was a
all
barn
of our
swallow going
guests
back
are like,
to her nest. I
what
reached
advice
out
do you
for her.
have? Like, especially I think your advice is unique, kind of being in that engineering field. So to
suddenly-
somebody that is maybe in high school or maybe just still in
was a
university, what
cat.
advice do you have for them to pursue an kind of engineering degree in the gaming industry?
I tried to
Well, I would
reply,
say,
but
like,
the bird
look,
was really
Try it
scared.
out. Give it a shot. And understand. Everyone has imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Amen.
Including me.
Yeah.
So just know that what you feel like you are experiencing, everyone else has it too.
Yeah.
So so don't give up and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because by the way, like, people love to help. It makes them
Yeah.
feel really good. Just like
Yeah.
and this actually happened yesterday in the Commons is
I did,
every
and I
parent,
almost got her.
as soon as they meet a new parent
Yep.
or as soon to be parent, is like, oh, let me just tell you all the things. Let me just give you the easy button list of
Yeah.
things to go
Yeah.
do, because they want to give back.
Yeah.
She was getting
Because they
really
want to
tired.
take, like, their experience and, like, kind of pay it forward.
Yeah.
So like, people want to help, and so don't be shy about asking for
That's
it.
great advice.
And like, dude, if you're gonna go into computer science, you totally go into gaming, because, like, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It is literally our jobs, guys, boys and girls. It is literally our jobs to play video games.
I know.
Like, right now.
It's a dream.
I
Just
know.
saying.
It's so
And make
awesome.
services to deliver those games.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah. So
big
so I think gaming
I promised Dad I wouldn't
engineering
cry
in general is great, but
All
gaming
I
in
cared about
particular,
was eating at
working
night.
on stuff that people do
Yeah.
for fun in their
Yeah.
free time versus, like, things for productivity, like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a really nice space to be, and
I
it's
thought
part of the
it was
reason
her.
why the team is so motivated and we just love what we do.
That's
So-
awesome.
Suddenly,
Yeah, keeping
I
that
was an
positivity
owl.
is huge. Sometimes we have to like pinch
First,
ourselves
all I
after a
knew
bad day and be like, what are we doing here? We're
Then I
making
heard
games,
I
or we're
know.
like, we're at Xbox, man.
Right.
This is awesome.
Right. You gotta have some fun with this.
And
Exactly.
talking more about Game Pass, what are you excited about, like, in the
Yeah.
future of Game Pass? How do you see? Because there's someone asking earlier.
Before the chat.
What are you excited for in the future of Game Pass? How do you see the service coming together?
Well, I get excited
Without
because
giving any spoilers.
I know.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Well, I feel like we're just kind of just getting started. Like, there's so much more. The team is just bursting at the seams, with ideas and stuff to do for our members. I love the fact that we are, and like I said, I'm just kind of super into indies right now. I love the fact that, like, I'm finding these games that I wouldn't find otherwise, and, like, having these moments with my family that I wouldn't. Like, there's this awesome game, Thomas Was Alone, that I started
Oh,
playing.
it's so
Okay.
good.
Oh my
The
God.
narrator
Yes.
in that game.
Sounds
Yes.
scary.
No,
No,
it
no,
is-
no.
It is.
Squares.
It's like RPG Pong.
Oh.
It's these little
Interesting.
squares.
You're square. You're like rectangles and
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and my whole family. So we have 3 boys.
Yeah.
We spent the entire weekend playing Thomas Was Alone together.
Aw.
And just like going through the story,
Yeah.
and of course the 11-year-old is the best, Twitch gamer in the house. He's really doing
Yeah.
a bunch of the heavy lifting on it. But it was just like, it's just such a special game that we
Yeah.
wouldn't have experienced otherwise.
Yeah. How does it feel to be like on the forefront of something that is so disruptive and like so cool for our industry? Like,
Well,
it's you, girl.
It's us. It's us. It feels pretty darn great.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine anything more fun and challenging and exciting to work on.
Yeah.
So Game Pass team is pretty pumped.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. That's awesome.
I just killed a rabbit.
You
2
just
rabbits
killed a
actually.
rabbit?
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
They
no,
made me
no,
do
no,
it.
that's great. Now you're the shark.
Oh, now I'm
Look
the
at
shark.
this.
I know. Yeah, this part is.
Sequins.
This
Yes.
is this weird thing.
I
you gotta
just-
like flop down until you get to the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This is
Isn't
it.
this? Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, Mike is in chat.
Oh, hey, Mike.
That's amazing.
Oh my god. Yeah, this was probably the most WTF moment of the entire
I
game.
know.
I was like,
when the owl turned into a shark. It was like I don't even know what we're doing.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Why
It
am
was-
I here? What is happening?
Okay, now I'm underwater, so that's better.
Yeah. I guess you keep swimming. Well,
Always keep swimming.
just keep swimming.
Just keep
I
swimming.
will. I will.
Life advice.
Don't know where to go, but it's fine.
Um,
Playing the game with no sound is a challenge.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's tough.
any
Sound is great.
any role models that you haven't, people you look up to in this, doesn't have to be female. Any really that you're like, man, that person's killing it.
Well, I think about Alice Steinglass,
Okay.
who she was at Microsoft formerly, and she now heads up Code.org,
Okay.
which is a not-for-profit that's
Yeah.
helping like get STEM education
Yeah.
included in and engineering included in STEM education.
Very cool.
So they're not just teaching kids to code; they're trying to change the education system
Yeah.
in the nation to include engineering along with science and
Yeah.
math. But what I think is so smart about their approach is how fun they make it. So I remember this
Okay.
story from when my oldest was, she must have been 5.
Yeah.
And they were doing Hour of Code. That,
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
week
Yep.
in the
In the
fall
schools and stuff. Yeah.
right when they're doing Hour of Code. And so of course,
Yeah.
being a coder,
Yeah.
I was like so excited to hear about it. So the first day of Hour of Code, I pick him up and we get in the car and I'm like,
Yeah.
how was Hour of Code? And he was like,
Jumped out of
well,
when I
we didn't
opened
really
my
do
eyes,
any
everything
coding. We just played video games. I was like, oh. And so I was like, well,
Yeah.
show me when we get home what you did.
Yeah.
And so we brought up the webpage and he showed me the the Plants vs. Zombies
Yeah.
level. And it was coding.
Yeah.
He was doing loops and all of these
Yeah.
things. But it was so fun. He thought he was just playing a video game. He didn't realize he was learning anything.
That's the best type of learning.
Right?
It's like when spinach is like packed into desserts or whatever, right? Like
Yeah. No, it's like,
Yeah.
that sounds terrible,
I know,
by the way.
I know.
You're not invited
I know,
to dessert
sorry.
in my house.
just blend it all together. That's amazing. So they take curriculum that kids are familiar with, right? Like as I know Minecraft's involved in this
Yep.
as well.
Minecraft has been involved
Yeah.
over multiple years.
That's right.
I think Minecraft's education approach is also really smart.
Yeah.
Because anything where you can make it more appealing
Yep.
to learn things, which
Yep.
is then skills you can use.
That's right.
It's just great.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like it's that achievement loop, right? Like it's you kind of. That's why I love. We have girls make games here
Yes.
as well in the summer, which is awesome. And it's kind of the same thing. Like the girls feel like they're making a movie or a TV show or so whatever it is. Their story come to life, and it's like in the 3 weeks, it's like, do you realize you made this?
Yeah.
You made the art. You made the narrative. All that sort of stuff. You made mechanics, and yeah, it's awesome. Totally. Yeah, I love that.
I'm now killing people.
You're now killing people.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
oh.
has escalated to
Oh.
I'm a snake and
Oh,
I'm-
that's
Oh, the
right.
snake.
You are a
Okay,
snake.
you're the
Yeah.
snake.
I think you're close to the end of this dream.
yeah, I think I am.
Should we let you finish the dream sequence and then
yeah.
move on to 5
Oh,
minutes?
really? Then we should
Okay.
definitely move.
All right.
We only
let's
have
see-
5 minutes. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
let's see if there's any. Hey, Kate, was there any good questions? Sadly not. Come on, folks.
Guys, we're waiting for you.
Let's get it.
Nicole, I feel like we need to talk about your phone.
Oh, this is killer content now.
No, I guess, and I also want to talk about Skyrim Grandma, but like,
I do want to talk about Skyrim.
yeah, but we just,
There you go.
And the good
okay.
stuff.
And let's be clear. That's my phone case.
No, but
I know, but
you have the best phone cases because the one before
It's
this one
adorable.
was
I
like,
usually get.
I don't know if we got that on
Yeah.
camera. Oh no, here, guys, he's fixing it. Wait, there it is. Look at this case.
I know.
This is awesome.
This
That's
too
a thing of
can-
beauty.
this too
Okay.
can be yours on Amazon. The rabbit hole of late night Amazon browsing.
Awesome.
oh yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Exactly.
So Skyrim Grandma.
Skyrim Grandma. Let's talk about it.
It's such a good story. So as a absolute obsessive fan
Yes.
of Skyrim, I really love to hear the story. But so there's an 82-year-old grandma
Yeah.
with, I think she's got like 500,000 subs
she's
on
popular.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
But she's a grandma and she
Yeah.
plays Skyrim all the time. She's playing
plays
ESO now.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's playing Elder Scrolls.
She's
Yeah.
playing ESO, Elder Scrolls Online now, and the fans contacted Bethesda and they said, "Hey, we want Skyrim Grandma in the next Elder Scrolls." And you know what? They're
It
doing
happens.
it. They're doing it. So they actually,
up.
yeah, they brought her to the studio. They did some mocap
Yeah.
and stuff, and they're building her character into the next.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
I love when we're able to or fans are able to kind of have that amazing experience. in
And
the game.
influence the games.
How
Yeah,
meaningful.
it's
Yeah.
really cool.
I love that feedback loop between
Yeah.
the gamers and the community around the games.
Yeah.
Sure,
and
I've
so it was
always loved
awesome
that.
to see
And
that.
I'm sure
Yeah.
It was on uplifting news, in the Reddit subreddit uplifting news.
need
If you're having a
that.
down day, like that's the
We
subreddit
need that
to go
hit
to.
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep.
I am also a massive Skyrim fan in terms of I played
Oh yeah.
the original and then I probably put 300 hours into the remaster. After
Oh,
it came out.
nice.
I was like, I'm gonna try this again, and then I was like, oh no,
I still have a story.
I'm playing it over
I
again.
know.
We got a question from chat real
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
And it has
Are
to
you
do with
on a mic?
I have a mic now, yes.
Oh, wow.
We're trying to be responsible with this.
boy.
We have a question from chat about bullying, and if you guys have experienced it, what advice you have? This person's in high school and they want to know what women in gaming have to say.
Oh, very good.
That's tough.
That's tough.
I mean, I think many of us, most of us, have experienced bullying of some type. As a teenager, I was certainly groups of girls are tough.
They are tough.
So I've experienced it.
Yeah.
I think in terms of online bullying, like we have lots of tools.
Yes.
So use the technology
report.
tools. Report.
Yes.
Protect your account
Yep.
with
Block
privacy.
if you need
That's
to.
right.
Yeah.
But definitely report. We do look at all of this
Yeah.
stuff. In real life bullying, like do you talk to somebody that you trust? And don't be silent about it. Get some get some help.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I think for me looking back, I was bullied as a kid because I was a weird kid. I liked some weird things that did not fit in.
I was a total nerd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
same here.
Total dorcas.
Yep.
I totally take my books to recess and I
Yes.
was reading on the stairs.
Yes.
I read on the
I
school bus.
remember. Yep.
Totally.
So
But I think the best thing is you know what? That's the character that makes you who you are, and don't let people try and take that away
Yeah.
from you. And so, bullying is absolutely tough and intolerable. And to your point, talk to somebody,
yeah.
but don't let them tear you down. You are special. I do believe everybody is special, and the things that you care about make you who you are. So yeah,
Hang in there. And as a parent, it is heartbreaking
yeah,
to watch our kids get bullied. And,
Oh, yeah.
and it happens, and it is just devastating. So
yeah. It's a tough one.
hang in there.
That's a good thing too. Make sure that your parents are aware and just talk to
Yes.
them. And
Mhm.
I think that's really crucial. So because I see kids get isolated when they start going through these things if they go through these things. So yeah, making sure you're not
Okay,
alone.
Rogue
Alone,
Mouse, I
yeah.
like your point. Stand up for what is right in a positive way.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, let someone know. Rogue Mouse, you are right on.
Yep.
Yeah. Holly's. So her question says, "I'm terrified. I am going to." There's a glare on the.
Unintentionally
Unintentionally.
neglect my husband and my son due to my streaming. I would just have a dialogue with him.
Yeah.
Have it say like, hey, you need to tell me if it's too much.
Yep.
And it could be even if he doesn't want to tell, like he can just ring a bell.
Sure.
Like
Or a look, or
right. Like
yeah.
we kind of have a system, like me and my husband, where if
Yeah.
it's like, I need you to take over like the parenting or the discipline, we do this invisible bell. Ding.
Yeah.
And then it's not like
It's like a tag team.
that's right. It's like, you
Yeah.
know what? I need to tap out for a minute.
Yeah.
So just kind of like set up a framework ahead of time.
Yeah, I agree. Most tensions could be resolved if people just openly communicate and have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Right? I think that goes just for life and work in general.
Yep.
Usually
all
tensions
relationships.
are
Yep.
yeah, tensions come when people have mismatched expectations
Exactly.
and no communication.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to move on? All right. Okay, great. So we are going to move into the snap segment, which I actually wondered.
We already
I
covered
have
it. We already covered it.
We
Okay,
have.
so we are going to
okay,
talk about
cool.
that. We did talk about code.org, but we will talk about the WIG rally a
Yeah.
little bit for those that couldn't be there last year. So was it last week? 2
no,
weeks ago?
it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm like, what day is it? So it was on March 19th in San Francisco. So this was the 19th annual Women in Gaming rally,
Wow.
which is crazy. Yeah, I always get asked like, what is Women in Gaming? How long has it been around? And then I say like almost 20 years, and people are like, what? Really? And I was like, well, like we haven't been around it for 20 years, but yes, there's been like people here that have kind of built it up over time. So yeah, it's a huge deal. We hosted over 650
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had, I don't know if anybody has B-roll, probably not. That's okay. You'll get to see it after the show. So we had partners from Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Facebook, YouTube, and then Women in Gaming International, which is kind of like a more of a broader industry industry group. And so Ubisoft brought like this amazing installation where people could write like positive affirmations to each other and like
nice.
hang it
Yeah, they
on.
had like a green wall where you could just like vote.
Yeah.
The partners, I love the space and how it was organized and how
Yeah.
everyone just came together to create like a really cool space where you had like things to do and we had headshots and we had coffee and it was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then we had our panel. So we had Helen Chang do the opening remarks,
nice.
who's head of Minecraft. And the whole theme of the day was like using the female community or the women's driven community to build the world that we want to live in, essentially. And Minecraft has a unique, promise, which is building a better world. Kind of exactly what you mentioned, like kids playing through code and learning that. But then they've also done initiatives where kids have built things in Minecraft and then they've brought that to like the coral reef and it like revitalized the coral reef. Like that's insane to have like a game have that type of impact, right? So so that was amazing. And then we had a panel. Kate, our own very own Kate Yeager was the moderator.
She was.
And we had we had Gabby from the hardware team that did adaptive controller, people from Facebook, some developers, just talking about how we can shape the world that we want to live in. And so it was just like a really inspiring day.
It was.
And we had we made some fun
Yes, you need
swag.
to show that.
Which I think maybe we can probably give away a swag pack either on this one or on our next episode for those. So we had some really just kind of fun stuff. This is Ashley's little
Oh,
here.
okay. Well,
take
so
it home.
so that's mine. Then you would get a twin of that.
And you get a twin.
swag pack?
Yeah. So
Very
we
nice.
will give it to the team. Oh, look at all these close-ups today.
Yeah, you guys are doing some good work. Yeah, look
Ooh,
at that.
fancy. I like this little cat girl
Yep.
wig and then this really fun pin, which
People
is like
were
massive.
crazy about the swag. They really loved it.
It's always
Good
to
job,
have.
Nick.
I try. Okay, so then the other good thing that we want to talk about is the cyberbullying campaign that's going on Mixer right now. So they are partnering with at CyberSmile, or they're just called CyberSmile? Okay, cool. CyberSmile, to help keep gaming and streaming fun for all. So if you go to hashtag unawareness movement, you can turn down the toxicity and turn up the fun.
Wow.
God, that's
you
gonna
should
be
do the
amazing.
ad for it.
Okay, you leaned into that real
We'll
nice.
definitely, anyone,
like,
please clip that,
was
make it a GIF.
That's
and,
like
yeah.
Yeah, no, that was very gifty.
I know. Perfect, like marketing copy right there. So mixer.com/cybersmile. I think this is a really cool initiative that the company is getting behind as well. Like anything that kind of helps create safe spaces is hugely important. So yeah, snaps to that. So we try and give snaps.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do that.
This is the first time hearing of this. I didn't know there
know.
would be dancing.
I know, it's kind of, yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah,
really.
there have been a lot of like gifs in previous episodes of when we do the snaps where people are just like,
Okay.
Yeah.
each person does it at their own way.
They
so
do.
it's
We've had some
very-
like
yeah.
jazzy snaps.
Yes. There's-
It's
Oh.
crazy. Yeah. I like the coffee house. like,
This is the beatnik snap.
Beatnik, exactly. Okay, cool. The other thing, so now we're going to move to one-ups and game overs.
Yep.
So one-up, I think it was Skyrim
We
Grandma.
should start with the
Skyrim
game
Grandma.
overs.
Oh, you got B-roll. All right, so let's look at Skyrim Grandma. Do you guys want to let us know when?
Okay.
That's okay. We screwed it up for you guys. Skyrim
Shouldn't we have the game over first though?
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
Let's do the game overs first.
What's the game over?
So I have a game
Is it
over
yours?
that I didn't
Okay.
say. I mean, I didn't because this happened yesterday, so it's
Oh.
definitely not there. But I don't know if you guys read the Anthem article that
Oh,
came out
yeah.
in Kotaku.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking.
It was
It
heartbreaking.
was hard to read.
Because, well, and for me, and I'm going to totally steal your game over.
Yeah.
Oh, please do.
because
This is for us to
I-
discuss.
I am such a Mass Effect fan.
Oh, me
Are you a
too.
big BioWare fan?
Yes.
I'm a big BioWare.
I am such a BioWare fan. I mean, played
Dragon Age. Yeah.
played the snot out of all of the Dragon Ages, and then played all of the Mass Effects. In fact, did all of the endings of the Mass Effects.
Yep.
Mass Effect 3 to make sure that I liked the one that I ended with. And so it's so sad.
It was.
So this is an interesting question, actually.
mhm.
If and maybe this is too hypothetical, maybe we won't answer it. But if there are games that are beloved and there's this idea of this like super positive studio culture that fans project onto that studio, but maybe it's not always true. Like maybe people made Mass Effect and they crunched as well, or there was that kind of toxicity. Do you think that maybe as gamers we put too much, like we project too much on these studios, that they're these amazing environments, and then when we hear these things, like it's such a shock? Because I think this actually happens more in more studios than
I think it's interesting
think.
because games are part of the entertainment industry, and usually like you play games because you like games, you love games, like that brings something positive to your own life. Like
Yeah.
you won't be playing a game that you don't like.
Right.
It's
totally.
so I think it happens what you're describing of like, well, these people and everyone is a really cool thing about our industry is that everyone that works on it is usually super passionate about
Yeah,
the industry.
totally.
And so I think it's a combination of people, because they get all these amazing feelings and experiences from the games and the products that the studios are developing. They do project a lot of like, well, doing this must be the
Right.
dream and everyone is super happy and
Exactly.
like and two, usually everyone that is vocal around the gaming industry is like, oh my God, I love my job and this is like the best thing ever. And so when we go through hard times and people at the studios go through hard times, there's usually, I don't think people talk much about it
Right.
until these kinds of articles come out,
Yeah,
I
these
feel like.
exposés.
But I mean, it's, again, the interviews that were highlighted there is only a subset of the studio. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we also need to look at it in a lens of
Yeah.
it's probably not representative of everyone's experience.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think when I read it, it was like, it was obviously disappointment. I'm like you, I'm a huge BioWare fan, and they've had some struggles in the last year for sure with Andromeda. I haven't played
although
Anthem.
Andromeda I played it
thought
like
it
a
was
few months
okay.
ago. No, it was really good.
Yeah.
I really, really, really liked the
Yeah,
game.
I
I think it was just a combination of really bad press. They did have some issues, but people just made memes about it's really sad because people made memes about it, The reviews weren't great because they grasped
the
onto
character
that, but like the game is actually really good.
Yeah.
The universe and it's super long. It has a lot, like the story is super cool. The mechanics, like the combat, I think it's the best one in any of the Mass Effect games. Like I actually really love the game. So
Yeah.
it's just, that's another heartbreaking thing for me where it's like they actually did a really good game.
I mean, I think that's the sad thing about it is it's so hard to make games. And
hard.
you know, that article talks about like stress casualties, which is insane. Like, you know, to take and that sounds like stress leave, extreme stress leave, which is not good. But I think anybody working on a game has probably been in those shoes where they're like, holy, because games are so hard to make and they're broken for so long.
I wonder if there's any way
I don't think
of
it's
fixing
just,
this.
I don't think it's just BioWare that goes through
No, I
this.
don't think so. I think it's across the industry.
You've seen a number of
Yeah.
examples.
And so I do wonder, like, it made me think, like, how can we make this better? Is it the process of developing games that's ultimately broken? And is there anything we can do to help or, like, address that? Like, we actually need to be realistic and maybe say that these games don't take 2 years to make or 1 year to make or 5 years to make. Maybe we do need more time. Like, I don't know. I'd love to have a solution though.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wish I knew more a little bit about the film industry and how they go through it because, you know, everything's on a production schedule. Things change, things slip or whatever. But I think, you know, a lot of stuff gets announced early. People get super excited, but the pressure grows and grows. And so it's an interesting conversation for sure. And I think if anything that is good about these articles, it opens the conversation, right? It like shines a light, maybe.
And I think so. And I think what you might see too is that more games, you know, pivot to games as a service.
Yes.
And so that they can build smaller segments and then build over time based on the signal that they see from customers. So maybe that will help if it's more of a we're shipping all the time versus we have to ship this giant thing for this holiday where the date isn't movable.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I guess I'm hopeful.
Yeah. I am too. I think these conversations help a lot.
I think so. I think it's good to sometimes it's about demystifying our environment a little bit. Like, you know, we work in such a secretive industry, which is great because you always get great news and great surprises, which is awesome. But there are real humans behind it, so and that gets messy. So, okay, cool. So then we are going to go to the one up, which is this yours, Kat? Halo?
Well, yeah, I
NCC?
did say Halo. Yeah, because should we do the grandma first?
All right, Kate's telling us to go to grandma.
Okay.
Okay,
Here she
here
is.
she is. Roll it.
Holy cow, I'm gonna die again.
Skyrim Grandma is, I get tongue-tied, her name is Shirley Curry.
We can talk over
Oh, so we
it.
can
okay,
talk
there
over
she
it.
is. Look how cute she
my
is. Oh my gosh. So I wonder what character she plays in ESO. Do you know?
Yeah, she's a Khajiit.
Oh, she is?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Is she
Yeah,
doing
she's
everything like
Shirley
mocap?
Curry, K-R-R-Y, Shirley Curry,
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Is she doing everything like mocap voice and everything, or like for the game?
They don't
We
know.
know.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it wasn't clear yet whether they were going to do the voiceovers for
That's so fun.
for her Skyrim cameo. Somebody in a Reddit thread wanted her to read all of the books in Skyrim,
Oh,
like to dictate them.
Yeah.
Right. Like that would be adorable,
Yeah.
but
Oh my
that would be way too much time. She'd
That's
spend the next 3 years reading those books.
Yeah, if not longer.
Aloud, yeah.
There's so many. That's amazing.
how
That's
did
good
she
for
get
her.
into Skyrim? Does anyone know?
How did
I'm
you not get
curious.
into Skyrim?
True, but I just wonder.
I don't actually know how she initially got started, but the interesting thing is like the tone on her YouTube channel is just so positive.
Yeah.
It's like the comments are nice and
That's
like she calls her followers her grandkids.
Aw.
Hey grandkids,
Oh
you
my
know.
God.
So it's kind of like it's sort of a warm fuzzy in the gaming world. You know,
Yeah, I love
for
that.
Today. Yeah.
So great that one, you know, women like her exist playing at her age, and two, that people can like embrace her and just like be so excited to be
Ladies will
part
be
of
us in like
community.
50 years.
Hell Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
If only we could be so lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the other thing that I wanted to highlight is just like the awesome news that Halo MCC is coming to PC.
Yeah.
And it's going to be released both on our Microsoft Store and Steam.
Yeah.
And so fans were really excited, and we had all of these like amazing
Super
moments.
excited.
Did you see all the pizza that was sent to the
I had
Yes.
the 343
This is the craziest story. I got like so much pizza.
I know.
Yeah, it
They were
was
just so nice.
yes.
I-
also
I missed it. Like I only saw when the pizzas were coming. I was like, what happened? Like, did he say something on stream? But it's because he tweeted like a pizza emoji, right?
yeah, no, there
like
was
that?
something. I believe it started, and I'm not sure about this, so please correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, chat. I think it started with someone on Reddit or somewhere saying, "Hey, if Halo MCC ever releases on PC, or if Halo comes to PC, I'm gonna send pizza
To
to
the
the
dev
studio."
team, yeah.
And I think this was like months ago. It wasn't a thing of now,
Gotcha.
and then eventually it just. I mean, yeah.
Oh, nice
Just
work
went
with the
from
pizza
there.
stickers, guys.
Oh
I
yeah.
like it.
Way to use those up.
So yeah, that was very funny to see. I guess the team was happy because they had pizza for days, and then they actually created a pizza skin for the weapons in game.
Nice.
So that was
That's
funny.
amazing.
That was cool.
I
yeah.
love that. What's not to love? Pizza.
Oh, totally.
All right, Kate, I'm assuming we're done. This is the most janky show. I'm sorry, guys. We're a little rusty.
Oh my.
All right. Okay. So we're going to wrap it up here. I'm hoping we're at time. If not, I'm sorry, guys. We're cutting it off. So we're going to move into the Women in Gaming panel after this. So stay tuned. That's about a 60-minute panel. And we'll be back next month. It looks like the date's going to be Wednesday, May 1st. I don't know if we have our guest locked down.
We
yet
don't
or
yet.
who
It's
it
a
is.
surprise.
Surprise. We love surprises. So make sure to follow us on our social channels at Women in Gaming on Twitter and at Women in Gaming on Instagram. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so
joining
much
us.
for joining
Thanks for
us.
having me.
fun?
It was totally fun.
Awesome. And so before we leave, we're going to throw it to another streamer. You want to take us out?
Yes. So we usually love to highlight other streamers that are on the Mixer platform. And so we have a special female streamer to showcase this month. It's mixer.com/Simby, and that's SIMBY. So go and check her out on our Mixer channel.
All right. And with that, we'll say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Women in Gaming panel here at GDC 2019. Can I hear it? My name is Kate, and I'll be moderating this incredible group of women on this panel. Believe me, you chose the right place to be at this moment. But first, a couple housekeeping things. If you want one of those fabulous lanyards, and it's GDC, so obviously you do, the registration will be open after this event. Also, once we're done, quick FYI, get yourself down to that networking event. There's food, there's Activision, there's Facebook, there's a ton of others. If you haven't already been there, you'll want to be there. We're going to bring as many panelists as we can down there right after this, so that'll be awesome. And last but not least, if you can move in, well, actually you can't. There's not a lot of room here. I see it. I'm not minding it, but yeah, if there's places that, thank you, ladies. Right, can we just real quick? People helping people, y'all. People helping people. Now, I do want to introduce our opening, our opener today. Her name is Helen. She comes from the world of Minecraft, and we're very excited to have her up. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Helen.
Hi, and welcome everybody. I'm Helen, and I head up the studio that makes Minecraft. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. And before we get started, I just want to thank all of the great people who helped put on this incredible event. So thank you to everybody who helped organize the event. Thank you to all of the great panelists. And thank you to all of the great women all around the world who are helping to make the gaming industry a more inclusive and welcoming environment for us all. So thank you. The theme for today's rally is building a better world through gaming, and particularly thinking about the special and unique opportunity that we as women have to build the world that we want to work in. Oh my gosh. So I love working at Minecraft, and I am super proud because we use the power of the Minecraft brand as a platform to build a better world outside of the game. And building a better world is central to Minecraft's mission, and there are so many different ways that that shows up in the world. So we have Minecraft Education Edition that ignites learning from students and from educators. We partner with code.org to inspire students to get started in coding through the Hour of Code. And we use the game as a platform to promote gender equality and to break down traditional gender stereotypes. Minecraft is a game that empowers players to create and to explore without limitations. And our players have created some truly amazing things in the game. But some of the most inspiring stories and creations have come from communities working together. We have content creators that work together all across the world to bring diverse and new content into our game through our in-game marketplace. We have a community that pours their passion into this wiki site that's entirely created by the community, that's full of gameplay tips for newer players. There are so many examples of how our community, when coming together, can do so much more than one person on its own. And, oh. Thank you. So each of us on our own can do amazing things by ourselves. But building on the strength of our powerful community, we can do so much more. And when I look across the gaming industry, I see so many positive examples of the great work that we're doing to make this industry better. So I see people who are, recognizing and addressing destructive behaviors that are preventing women from wanting to stay in games. I see people who are looking for opportunities to bring in new and diverse perspectives as they're hiring. And I see so many examples of women who are sharing encouragement and empowerment to other women around them. I'm just going to share a small story about something I saw inside the Minecraft studio. So there was this time ago that somebody in our studio brought in a flower and left it in our women's bathroom just to make it a little bit nicer. And later that day, somebody put up a Post-it note on the mirror, and it said, "Thanks for bringing in that flower. It really brightened up my day." And over the course of the next week, these Post-it notes just proliferated like bunnies onto the mirror. And by the end of the week, our mirror was completely covered with these notes of encouragement and empowerment that women had written to other women inside the studio. And I had always thought that we had an amazing, supportive community, and that was just a great example of that. And then it was a couple weeks later that a note showed up on the mirror, and it said, "I'm having a really bad day." It was just a matter of hours. A number of notes started pouring in onto the mirror, and it said, "How can I help you? Do you need somebody to talk to? Or here's my number. Let me help you." And I think those are just great examples of a community in action, lifting each other up and supporting each other. We all have the power to contribute to the change that we want to see in this industry. And that's the kind of community that I want to leave behind for my kids and that I want to leave behind for the next generation. So I have 2 little girls at home, and they love playing games. And I tell them all the time that when they grow up, they can be anything that they want to be. And my hope is that one day, if they choose to work in the gaming industry, that what they find is a safe and welcoming environment where their voices are valued. I hope that the number of women that are making games by then better represent the number of women that are playing games. And I hope that one day, if they're leading a studio, that they're recognized as being a great leader, period, not just a great female leader. I'm committed to making this a better world for them and for our whole industry, and I want to challenge each of you to think about the role that you want to play in building a better world for us all. Because when I look across this room and I see all of the talent and the energy and the passion, I know that if we work together, that we can build a better world through gaming. And so with that, I want to pass it over to Kate Yeager from Mixer and Inside Xbox, who's going to lead the panel, and I want to welcome up all of the panelists. Thanks.
Come on down, ladies. And I have to apologize. There were 6 seats earlier, so I'm on the end, guys, so go with what you had before. Everybody has assigned seats. It's very exciting. So guys, welcome our panelists, of course. We're very excited that you all are here. And before we get into the nitty-gritty questions that I have, I want you guys to go down the line. We're going to start with Ashley. I want you to, and I love how as soon as I said that, all of the phones went up. That's, no, you're good, you're fine. But we're going to go down the line, and I want you to give a quick summation of what you do, who you are, and what you do. Ashley,
all right.
over to you.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm an evangelist for media and entertainment at Unity Technologies. And essentially, as an evangelist, I'm a developer advocate who helps empower creators to bring their visions to life, whether it's for games, films, and more.
Nice.
Hi.
Yeah, that works.
Hi, I'm Eunice. I'm in the middle of changing roles, so I am formally known as the head of HR for Activision, part of Activision Blizzard, and I am moving into a new exciting role, which is the SVP of Studio Operations for Call of Duty, and I'm super stoked to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
My name is Gabby Michelle. I'm a hardware program manager with Microsoft Devices. I had the honor of leading the Xbox Adaptive Controller development, and and other than that program, I've led a lot of accessories and other development programs for Xbox and Microsoft devices.
Sweet. There we go, yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Fujisimo. I'm also in the middle of changing role. I've been leading video and games for Facebook, and since last week, I'm heading up the Facebook app.
Hello everyone, my name is Anne Blondel-Join. I'm with Ubisoft and I'm in charge of the Open Innovation Initiative, meaning that we're looking at working with independent developers to help the overall video game ecosystem thrive.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, my name is Molly Maloney. I am lead narrative designer with Bad Robot Games. I got my start as a concept artist, and now I tell stories for a living.
Nice, okay. Okay, y'all, we only have an hour, so let's get right into it. Ashley, over to you. Now, you as the evangelist, the Unity evangelist, I should say, you get to see a lot of rooms like this. What are the opportunities that you see to increase diversity across gaming?
Especially like thinking about events like this, there's so many opportunities. I love that I can be in an event like this with a room full of women. Like that's incredible to me. And things have changed a bunch since many years ago in the industry. There are so many more diverse creators out there. Game development has been more accessible than it has ever been before, and because of that, we're seeing so many creators from different backgrounds and experiences and perspectives tell their stories through games and attend events like GDC, like many other conferences around the world. And really, what we can do to kind of support diversity in these opportunities is to support these creators, support the diverse creators that are already in the industry, help them tell their stories, supporting them, buying their games, supporting their patrons. There's so much that we can do to the people who are here already, in addition to helping bring more women and more people of diverse backgrounds in by doing workshops at colleges and different kinds of events that you can do to support people who want to get into game development. We can all be mentors and we can all support different people getting into the industry.
I love it, yes. Yeah. Now, you had told me in our phone conversation before this event that there was I think you'd had a specific anecdote, like a developer that was actually looking to increase diversity and you had to pretty much help that person along. Is that true? Do you remember that story?
Yeah, but really what it is that it's so cool that I'm playing so many more games now where, I see a game and it's a bunch of women by default, or a bunch of it's like people of color. The game that I was telling you about, it was a virtual reality game, and for a lot of VR games, like you see your hands in the games, and you see either gloves or like holographic hands. But I just noticed that the hands were of someone of color, and I thought that was so cool. And it's just a small thing like that, but it can have so much power. Like having that kind of representation, to have that ability to see yourself in the games, and really helps other people be comfortable doing that in their own games as well.
Nice, excellent, absolutely. Anne?
I keep calling her Annie, and I apologize.
Doing it.
She's awesome. And you know what? You're somebody who's been pushing for accessibility, inclusivity for nearly 2 decades now, right? So talk to us a little bit about what we can learn from the past and what we're looking for in terms of the future inclusivity, diversity for gaming.
Okay, so 20 years as you, thanks for reminding me that.
Guys, she looks amazing, so I will take it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll start with myself, actually. When I joined Ubisoft, I mean, I was 23 years old, and I've always been a gamer, but I've been, introduced to games via men, with more, my brother, my cousins, the friends of my friends, and being a girl in that world was kind of weird because all of my friends were looking at me and saying, well, it's for kids, it's for boys, you're not a real girl, so to speak. So when I joined Ubisoft, I never felt, and since then, I mean, I've never felt being a woman in a men's world. Why so? Because I could finally be me and enjoy what I like to do the most, which was gaming. Apart from my dad's telling me that it was disowning me because I was going to be playing all my life, beside that, I have never ever regretted that choice. So the reason why it started with me, I felt so included into the overall ecosystem of the company because there's a way at Ubisoft that think about it as an entrepreneurial spirit. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you have the expertise and you have the experience. And Ubisoft is not pushing you into the water. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of training. For instance, and I mean, we have our own GDC internally, which is called UDC, Ubisoft Development Conference. And I feel it's great in terms of inclusion and diversity because all of us, whether we're from the STEM, so to speak, community, which I'm not, or if we are just willing to build better gamers experiences, we are all welcome to share our expertise and experience over there and make sure that we'll build on each other's competencies. So that's one thing. Second thing is that what I like the most and how we try to push as much as we can on diversity and inclusion is that you might have heard that we're now the biggest studio, so to speak, all over in the world. That means we are 15,000 individuals amongst 40 different studios, and we have over almost 100 different nationalities. And all those guys are working together. And when I say guys, obviously, I mean, So, and it's for me, it's what's making us so special. And it's because we have to listen to each other even more when you start from the fact that we don't even speak the same language, but we all share the same passion about making games. So I have to say that all along my career and up to, I would say 5 years ago, we brought to the table another stakeholder, which is the most important one for us. It's the gamers themselves. Obviously, we're now in the game as a service industry, so to speak. So we're looking at getting gamers' feedback and making sure that doing so, the most of them can access to our games. And it's super important. And this is how we also started to think about the accessibility in our games because we wanted, being in a game as a service, committing to gamers that everybody will have access to it. Well, you need, of course, to be true to your commitment and to start working on it seriously.
Awesome. I actually want to real quick unpack something. What was it like when you first started in gaming and when you first started bringing up the idea of inclusion, of diversity? What was that like as opposed to now for you?
I would say it has always been I wouldn't say easy because it's hard work, but I always found in the management of Ubisoft people who were willing to help us try and failing, which I usually call it's not my acronym, but I say fail is first attempt in learning. This has great value within Ubisoft. You can try again, and if it works, it's great because we all win. But if we fail, it doesn't matter because we always learn something in the process. So when I brought that in the first place, and I think it was when I started to work on the third-party department where we were trying to complete our own portfolio with external developers, we had to be very cautious about not destroying their value, not destroying what they were bringing to the table, not destroying their differences. So, and as I said, it was easy in the fact that this is how this is the DNA of the company. I mean, you can bring things to the table. It's okay for you to try, and if it's working, you'll have many more people coming and joining you. And if it's not, well, you'll jump onto the next one. So.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. I'm a big fan of Ubisoft, and I know there's a lot of people. Am I saying that right, by the way? Can I ask? Ubisoft, please.
Okay, the French way, it's Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
And then, I mean, it's a company for gamers, so gamers can say whatever they want. I mean, it's Ubisoft,
so
everything.
glad you said that.
Yes. So we're like that, actually, that everybody's making their own.
It's Ubisoft, however way you say it. I love it. You know what? Today's event is obviously the theme is building a better world through games, and I don't think I can think of a better piece of hardware that truly showcases that than the Xbox Adaptive Controller. We just happen to have a senior hardware program manager for Microsoft devices, Miss Gabby over there, who in fact led the development of said device. I need you to tell me a little bit about the future of gaming and how this adaptive controller can fit into that.
Well, I think we've heard from our other panelists here that the future of gaming is diverse and inclusive, and I actually want to add to that something that I have borrowed from like Bryce and Cherry and Tara, wherever she is here, that the future of gaming is also accessible, and but it's not just that, right? Like, we've made a lot of really great accessibility advancements on the software side, very deliberate. And inclusive advancements, but the adaptive controller was our first time we deliberately made an advancement on the hardware side. And if you think about gaming or any sort of consumer electronics, hardware and software are two sides of the same coin. They go together. You can't have one without the other. And hardware is that that object that you interact with. It's the physical manifestation, your interaction with this world. And software is what creates that world. It creates your immersion. It's your virtual piece. It's what you see and feel and hear. And to really create a great future, you need those two pieces to go together and to work seamlessly together and harmoniously. And then that's what's going to create your amazing, diverse, inclusive, and accessible future.
I love it. Okay, yes. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm there. I asked you this already, but since you're on stage, I'm going to do it again. Well, first off, who here saw the Super Bowl ad about the adaptive controller? Who else cried a little? Let's just, nice, thank you. I need to know, as somebody who was in the trenches, really going for it every single day at work, what was that like to see that adaptive controller on a world stage like that?
I might have been bawling.
That's fair. No,
yeah.
that's fair.
I texted Chris Hunter before I texted my mother, in all caps, like, oh my God. I think I texted Bryce right after that. It was amazing. It's unbelievable to see a product that you worked on, a piece of hardware, focused on a Super Bowl commercial on that large stage, and especially something that's focused on accessibility and bringing that inclusivity into the world. I really, 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 really like a quote that Bryce put up in the Inclusive Tech Lab, which, Bryce, I'm repping the Tech Lab.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which is, if you do not intentionally and deliberately include, you unintentionally exclude. And to see that manifestation during a commercial in the Super Bowl, I don't think there's anything more powerful than that.
That is true. What do you say? I can't even, I was waiting for some applause because in my head that already was going off. Oh. Thank you. I appreciate the cue. Last question over to Gabby here. What opportunities does the adaptive controller have to bring different gaming franchises together? Because I think we can all agree that there's more that unites us than divides us, especially when it comes to this adaptive controller, specifically as a piece of hardware.
I think that's the cool thing about the adaptive controller is that everybody's really focused around it, but that is the other cool thing is it's an Xbox controller. You don't have to design your game around it. If your game works with an Xbox controller, it'll work with the Xbox adaptive controller. The important part is to focus on all the other accessibility things that your game needs. We did the hardware piece. It works. Gamers can use that however they need to use it. But what I like about the adaptive controller is bringing accessibility to the forefront of a lot of people, and I hope now that they take that and say, okay, what else do I have to do to make my game accessible?
Nice, absolutely. Fiji, over to you, my dear. Okay, so obviously Facebook is a name that holds a lot of weight, and you guys are increasing your scope into the gaming space. As someone who has helped forge that platform and has obviously just gotten a huge promotion, well done again. That's exactly right. Talk to us a little bit about what you see as the future of gaming in the social space.
First off, I want to say this is the most supportive audience I've spoken to in a long time.
Yes. A big hand to you guys.
Thanks, ladies. So we all know that gaming is incredibly social, and the mission of Facebook is to build communities. So it's not too surprising that we would be very interested in being part of the future of gaming. And our mission in gaming is really building the world's community of gamers. We already have 700 million people who either play a game or watch a stream or engage in a gaming group on Facebook. And really what we want to do is make sure we continue growing that community in a way that's inclusive, as everyone said. We think that we have some advantages there because on Facebook, as you know, you have to use your real name, and that helps a lot with removing a lot of the toxicity that you can find on other platforms. But we have to be very intentional in terms of all the decisions that we make to make sure that there's no hate speech, there's respect in all of these communities, and so that's something we continue investing in. One of the big things that we're announcing at GDC is a gaming destination where we're bringing all of these parts of gaming that are currently spread a little bit all around Facebook, whether it's playing a game, watching a game, and engaging in a gaming community together in one destination. And when you look at all of these components, it's actually kind of interesting because especially when you look at women who play, we've had a history back in the days of Facebook web games of bringing a new set of gamers to games. And this is happening again with instant games where 60% of the people who play instant games right now are women. And so we think there's a very big opportunity to continue building platforms that really help a new set of people be part of that. Interestingly, we did a study with Accenture and to understand the phenomenon of women in gaming. And there was this really interesting stat to me, which was that when you ask mobile gamers whether they consider themselves as gamers, 42% of guys say yes, only 28% of women say yes, despite same levels of activity in games. And so I think it's interesting because we are clearly getting women to engage in our games in a way that they may not even identify themselves, but is really getting them into the industry, which we think is really important. And then I will echo what these wonderful women have said, which is we don't get to build an inclusive product and an inclusive communities if our companies themselves are not inclusive. And we all know 23% of people working in games are women, 46% of people playing games are women. So we clearly have a massive delta to even get to the same representation. And so we launched this big initiative called Women in Gaming, where we do interviews with women in the industry, we do lectures, we do trainings, and so I encourage you to visit that. That gives me a ton of inspiration every time I see all of these badass women in the industry doing amazing things. So I think we need to do more of that.
Love it, absolutely. This is going to sound like a silly question, but it's not really that silly, but whatever. What would you say is Facebook's gaming strategy in terms of it seems like it's everybody can game, right? Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Facebook, we're obviously an incredibly broad platform. And I think that's actually the beauty of what we can bring to the gaming world, which is that not only we can bring a new set of people who don't even consider themselves gamers to discover gaming through videos, through playing, through all of these activities, but on top of that, we can bring a lot of the activities around gaming that currently are focused on just specific platforms. We can bring them together, where you can play play, you can watch videos, you can join a gaming group. And that has value because we see that so many of the vibrant communities are very often led and moderated by women. Like we all know that women do a lot more of the work of building communities than the men. And we're certainly seeing that play out in the gaming space. And so I think if we can bring all of the aspects of gaming, building communities, watching video, playing games together, we actually have a chance of building something that is more inclusive from the ground up. And in fact, like when we have a gaming program for creators, so streamers, and we were very intentional in making sure that we would have a lot of inclusivity in how we pick even who we go talk to get them into the program. And what we've seen is that there's this woman, Melanie Mack, like in 1 year, she got 1 million followers with just a little bit of help from us. And now she really creates an amazing community that's very healthy. And that's how we are going to create these healthy communities, is by showing role models inside these communities that are going to stand up and like really have that image. And it's not just women, by the way. We have this other creator called Paul Shark, who is actually a veteran, and he's streaming in order to get over the trauma of serving in the army. And a lot of his audience is other veterans. And so we've seen that like all of these communities can end up being micro communities among diverse groups of people. And so that goes much beyond gender and in terms of like all types of inclusiveness.
Excellent, cool. Eunice, my dear, over to you, my friend. Obviously, you also got a big promotion. Well done, by the way. Let's recognize it. Within the HR, as an SVP for the studio, you see the gender gap firsthand, right? And Call of Duty is a great big title, and Activision is a big company and one of the leaders in the field, to be sure. Tell us what you're seeing in the workplace in terms of the sort of that major gaming entity, in terms of what that gap looks like and how we can lessen it in our day-to-day workplace lives.
Yeah, I think it's a journey. It's a long journey, and I think a lot about this in my head of HR role. I reflect a lot on myself and who I was through the years. I started at Activision as an undergrad intern, so I've been there a long time. And for me, I can't say that for that entire almost 2 decades now that I was cognizant of diversity and inclusion, and that it was something that I was pushing into the organization and into the culture. And it's sort of not until maybe the last 5 years that I started to really think about it and think about representation and what does it mean to have an inclusive culture. And we've really begun, and there's women that have totally inspired me in the workplace that have helped me find my voice, and using my voice then to have a broader dialogue across the company about diversity and inclusion. And I would say just in the last few years, I see the seeds of change. They're not as fast as anybody would want them to be, but I see them being planted. And what it's really shown me is that every little thing counts, every little move, every time you speak up, or every time you say, hey, maybe this candidate brings something different to this group, or hey, I really want to hear what she has to say or what he has to say. All those little things add up and make a difference. And I think sometimes it can feel hard and slow and you're alone in this battle sometimes. But I think, it all matters. And for me, making this move onto the development side is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I feel like I've had a lot of champions along the way, which I'm incredibly grateful for. I've also championed myself. I never stopped believing that I could make a change from HR, which isn't sort of the traditional place you go from HR to development. But I believed that I could do it. I kept that dialogue going. I had folks who supported me. And now I think I have an even more important thing to do, which isn't just go into my role and hopefully kick ass, but I go and I'm a representative. I am a different looking person on the Call of Duty leadership team. And with that, I bring a different lens every day, and I'm not gonna ever stop the dialogue. I'm gonna keep it going. I wanna talk about what inclusion means and what diversity means in Call of Duty, which can be challenging at times by nature of what the product is, but I love Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty, and I want that to also be a really inclusive and representative place. So it's a slow journey, and you're going to take some steps back along the way, but you got to keep moving forward. I really believe that, and I see that we're making a difference. Like, I just look around. I'm so inspired by everybody on this stage. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And Eunice, I can imagine it being tough. I think there's a lot of people that want to do a lot of good, right? And there's a lot of people that are stuck in a particular way. So I can imagine you're up against a lot on a day-to-day basis. So tell me a little bit about, if I can go off the side here. You've been with the same company for such a long time. You obviously believe in its culture. You believe in the people that you've worked with and things. So I'm curious, what's been your experience at the beginning of your career versus towards now where you are right now?
yeah, I think I touched on it a little bit in the sense that, when it comes to talking about an inclusive culture, that wasn't even in my vocabulary.
Right.
And so I think I also let things sort of, in my head back in the day, it was not letting it faze me. I'm just going like, whatever, I'm going to move on.
Tough it out, right?
Not even tough it out, I was just like, whatever, it doesn't bug me, I'm just going to keep moving on. But what I've realized is that doesn't help. That doesn't help pay it forward for the folks to come. And so it's important for me to speak up, and especially in my role and as I've progressed in my career, to take a stand on these conversations and bring them into everything we talk about. And so what I have noticed is that I believe that there is an openness to have this dialogue, and it's hard because you have to understand the other side. I know a lot of male counterparts who I deeply respect and have been an inspiration to me, but they may not necessarily have also thought about what it's like to be me or what the experience I've had. And so instead of fighting it with anger, which sometimes you gotta do, and that's usually my normal motive, it's just aggro, but I've found that there's power in just taking a step back, a deep breath, and trying to express what it's like and why it's different to be you, whoever you are and whatever it is that your experience is. And they can't tell you what that experience is. Only you can talk about it. Only you can say what your experience has been. And so I find that people pause and listen and actually go, I hadn't thought of it that way. So, you got to be there's got to be equal measures of everything, equal measures of patience, willingness to have dialogue and hear their side of it, whoever that they is, and equal parts, standing up for yourself and having that voice. But I've seen myself change, and I've seen the company change, and we're not perfect. Got a lot of work to do, but I'm happy that it's happening.
That's awesome.
Better now than never.
Fantastic, yeah. Molly, you know what time it is, right? It's Molly's time. You're on the front line of inclusive content that everyone can engage in. You can see my questions, so don't look. Tell us about the opportunities you're seeing within the gaming space and how inclusive storytelling can actually impact the gaming industry.
Well, that's such a huge, amazing question.
We got time. Feel free to expand.
The sky's blue. I kind of want to piggyback off of Eunice because there's so much she said that really made me feel a lot, and well eloquently put, as all of the ladies on this panel have been. This amazing experience. Storytelling in games, I was thinking about what you were saying, and I had a very similar experience. I thought of myself as a strong person. I chose not to see the differences, and I took a lot of pride in that. I was a woman working with a bunch of men. And the thing I started to realize over time is I'd like to refer to it as the invisible cost, like the hidden cost. And in storytelling, I think we see it the most, where you see, I think, Gabby, you were talking a little bit about earlier how I'm going to butcher your words, so I'm not going to try and regurgitate your eloquent, amazing words. But you look at the early efforts of inclusivity in storytelling, and it was like, well, what if we took this male protagonist and made them a woman? And I think, obviously, I don't think I have to tell this room what a disservice that is to a female experience or to a trans experience or to a gay experience. It's not an interchangeable thing. Character is something that stems deeply from our roots as a cultural and a personal human experience from a very early age. And it's very different from just putting different words out of or the same words out of a different person's mouth. So I've seen a lot of change over time working with storytelling. I was with Telltale for quite a few years. I worked at other places before that, and even in our approach to telling stories. And with Bad Robot now, which obviously is a company that has a long pedigree of telling interesting stories, and I'm so excited we're in the game space. But when it comes to telling stories, I just think that if we want to get more women involved, if we want to get more people from the LGBTQ community involved, if we want to attract the developers we want to see, it's this horrible chicken and egg thing. We need to play experiences that resonate with us. I can pick up any number of books and have an incredible experience that resonates and moves me. Even in other forms of media, Hollywood, I feel like we're improving. But in games, when you're sitting in a story room looking at the faces, we tell personal stories. Like, I feel like the best storytelling comes from the heart. And I don't begrudge the men in my life, well-meaning, amazing men who, some of my best friends are male developers, lovely people, but not all men. Lovely, lovely people. But I can't stop laughing.
You got this.
They're going to tell the stories that are true to them, and we want to see more of those stories. So getting more women, more female voices, more LGBTQ voices in the room, telling those stories, having those conversations that lead to amazing stories, like that is what gets me excited every day. And seeing and meeting everybody in this room, going to events like this just get me so jazzed to tell more stories. So.
I love that, and I want to open up to the panel now because we've went through each of you individually are incredible women who have done incredible things, who are also continuing to do incredible things. I want to talk about the biggest barriers and the biggest opportunities that you guys can see. And Ashley, if you'd like to start, I mean, like I said, you're a person who's in these kind of rooms all the time.
Yes.
You get to the hype zone, man. You're just loving it. What do you guys see? And again, pop in whenever you'd like. But what do you guys see as the opportunities and some of those barriers that we can help with? Ashley, if you want to start.
Yeah, for me, one thing that I noticed, especially when I was kind of younger and entering the industry, is that I felt so overwhelmed, like being a young woman, where do I go, what do I do? Like I went to my first GDC, I had no idea like where to go. I didn't know about this event, I didn't know about other events. And one thing I'm noticing a lot that I love that's happening in the industry is that there are so many opportunities for grants to attend GDC. I know that Microsoft has the Game Changers program. There's GDC Scholars.
I see some down here.
There's so many opportunities out there to apply to that I wish I knew about when I was in college, that I wish I could apply to. I see some programs now, and I've been in the industry for about 10 years, and I go, I want to apply for that. But it's, but it's so cool that so many companies are doing that now. And I'm often, when I'm going to events and I'm meeting women or people of diverse backgrounds, I ask them if they have heard about these opportunities and programs to get a free pass to GDC, to get a free trip somewhere. It's so good for your career. You can meet other people and you can learn. And the most common thing I hear is, oh, I don't think I would be great for that. I don't want to apply. And I'm like, no. There, literally, regardless of where you're at in the industry and what you want to do, there's a place for you, and you're welcome here. And it's important that everyone knows that. And everyone should feel whenever you see a cool opportunity or you want to talk to somebody like here at GDC to go do it, because we're all kind of here supporting each other. So that's a big thing I've been noticing.
Too true, my friend. Too true.
In terms of opportunity, I'm really bullish on streaming and video, mostly because obviously you can be what you can see.
Yeah.
And even if we put a lot more women like in the gaming industry and like we have 80% of women playing games, if they play on their phone and they don't identify themselves as gamers and they don't talk about it, we're not going to change the perception that it's actually really cool to be a female gamer. And I think if we manage to get all of of these streamers, these really awesome women streamers, like on the screen with a community that's not toxic, where they feel respected, they feel supported, and therefore they help other women get in the field. Like the media is going to help a ton, because you can have an image of someone who is cool, who is playing games. You can identify yourself with that person, and we see how big that is, especially for teenagers in the formative years where images matter so much. Like all of these influences have a huge impact on like how they are going to see the world. And if we can have a lot more women in front of the screen, that would be amazing.
That is an opportunity. Take note, y'all. Take note. Eunice, Gabby, Anne?
Well, if I may add, I think it's also because what the gamers want, and we know that our audience is craving for that kind of content, and we're seeing opportunities that our development teams are realizing that there are people missing around the table, and and even if they are around the table, sometimes they don't have the right voice to speak, or it's not the right moment or the right way of saying things. So what I see as the most important thing is that development teams, they understand it, they want to do it. I totally relate to what you were saying. It's a journey, so we need to be not to be afraid of walking on eggs, because instead of talking the talk, we need to be walking the walk. And this is where I see, we're looking for champions, we're looking for advocates, and a lot of those developers, they are really willing to do something. Sometimes they just don't have a clue, and that's why we've been building a corporate social responsibility team, and we have also an accessibility team, which is only dedicated to helping our developers understand what's good to do, what they should avoid be doing. This way, it's all about learning and training and understanding. But I think when there's that will, when the people really see the value of being as diverse, inclusive, and accessible as possible, then we have already done half of the path to being more inclusive and diverse.
Love it, absolutely. Molly, bring it in. I believe in you.
I would like to just push. A lot of the women I know are afraid to reach out, or sometimes are a little more hesitant. Like, do I have the right skills? Do I perfectly fit this job application? Like, my biggest urging, apply for things, reach out to people. Don't listen to that quiet voice inside of you that says, I don't think I completely fit this, or I'm not perfect, or I'm not ready, or I'm still a student. Reach out to developers on Twitter. We're our own best network. This group of people, I always try to answer people when they ask me questions. I got so much horrible stuff I want to ignore. I want to hear nice things from wonderful people with genuine questions. Reach out to developers and apply for the jobs, even if you're not the perfect applicant for them. We are looking for voices, and I just cannot urge that strongly enough to not be afraid. Don't hesitate. Just go for it.
Eunice, Gabby? Oh, there it is.
Just to build on that point, I think, there is something about men and women both have it. Women tend to have it a little bit more, which is that imposter syndrome or that fraud syndrome. And I know that, for example, from the outside looking in at me throughout my career, a lot of people thought I was incredibly confident. I just walked into a room, I knew what I was doing. But that voice in my head was crazy loud, all the way for like maybe 10 of my many years.
And it's not gone, is it?
It's not gone, but you know what? I have talked so much about, once I learned that it was a thing, I was like, what the? Other people go through this? Oh my God, it's amazing. And once I started talking to fellow colleagues about it, men and women, over and over again, that voice got quieter and quieter because I knew what it was. And so I think knowing that that's the case, that you will face that most likely in your career, and having people around you to talk to about that. And they say that women in particular, especially because of workforce, whatever industry you're in, there's a lot of male-dominated industries out there. Male sponsors or male mentors are super important to success, because they are the ones who are sitting in the meeting rooms deciding who's top talent, who's going to get the next promotion. So finding, somebody who can bring you along, you can ask your dumb questions to, which you might not have been okay to ask in a big meeting room. Finding those safe folks, whether it's somebody more senior or a peer, is super important. You need to rely on people around you to help you feel safe and comfortable. And I have had such amazing people around me at Activision to help me get to where I am today. And I couldn't have done it without all of those folks and having that ability to talk about all the things happening in my head. So I can't stress enough that that's really important. Don't just keep it in and think you're the only one suffering from it. There's probably somebody who knows what you're going through.
Agreed. Gabby?
I think everybody's touched on how it's really important to get people into the industry. And the one thing I think we often forget is how do we keep people in the industry? Like you two have been there for a long time, but it's tough, especially when it's a male-dominated world, and it can those environments are often very toxic. I know they can be very toxic in hardware. And so how do you find your safe spaces with a male leader or a female leader? How do you keep people from burning out? Because as you mentioned, sometimes you have to step up and fight. That can be exhausting. And people need to come in, because if people come in, we can make it safer. But it's also important that the people that are in there now, that are either the women there or the allies, need to make sure that we create a space that everybody can thrive and be successful, a great culture, which is hard and slow. But we don't want to bring people in and then have them leave, because once they leave, they never come back. And I think that's, again, it's the same thing, two sides of the same coin. Get them in and keep them in.
That's right.
I like it. Well, so we've got a diverse range of people here. We've got people that are starting off in the industry and people that are obviously very successful and have been for many years. And one of the last questions I wanted to pose to you guys was, you don't start off perfect. I myself, just fun little anecdote, I was a producer at E, and I definitely spent thousands of their dollars accidentally sending the wrong satellite. That happened, and whoopsie doos. So, none of us are perfect, and I just also wanted to sort of bring through that barrier of you started off perfect. These women are all very successful, so I wanted to go down the line. If you guys had any anecdotal, this is how I had a big win or a big, flub or something like that. Do you guys have any anecdotal, stories about you really making it or really eating it? That's maybe just my own curiosity, because they are so successful. They're so well poised, and this has been such a great panel. But anybody, I just want to make it more human. You know what I mean?
I have a story.
Eunice.
Okay. So I've been a people leader or people manager for quite a long time. Not a great one for most of my career. And I think, there was a lot of learnings along the way, but the one thing I was open to was feedback and just hearing it full throttle, full blown, straight up. And that's my style too. I try to be a straight up person. And I think one of the biggest learnings for me was I always tried to be this poised, confident female leader, just leader, full stop. And I wasn't very vulnerable. I wouldn't really share much about what's happening with me in my personal life or make a lot of connections. I'm somebody who wants to get stuff done. So I'm I don't want to chit chat. Just get in my office, let's get the work done, and then let's move on. But I realized at some point that there are a lot of different types of people in the world, obvious. And that for some people, a connection is really important. And showing who you are and that you have their back is really important. And finding some level of connection through being vulnerable was really important. And that's a lifelong journey for me. I've realized I'm not perfect there. I'm not suddenly so sharing and caring and all that. But I've learned to find places where I can connect with, whether it's my team members, my direct team members, or any number of employees on things that are happening in my life, or even sitting up here and talking about my foibles. I had some bad 360s and reviews and feedback from folks based on how I was managing them, and I've learned a lot from that. And now I'm brutally honest about what I'm working on, and I share my feedback openly with all of my team members always, and I invite them to give me feedback whenever possible. It's the only way to grow, and so, I feel like there is proof that people can change if they put effort towards it, but it's a journey like everything else.
And the point,
sorry, Fiji.
On the point about being vulnerable, I went through a really hard pregnancy where, like, for 5 months I was on complete bed rest, so I had to lead my team through video conference. And the thing that was really interesting about it, outside of, you know, everything, everything about it, was that I realized how much of an armor I had put on in the past, where, you know, when you work in a male-dominated industry, very often I see women trying to be like completely like the guys, or like in my case, I went kind of the opposite. I was like, no, I'm gonna be like fully feminine. I'm French, like I am gonna have the high heels and the makeup and the dress, and I thought I had figured it out. I thought I was like, this is me. I am super confident. But that's still an armor, that's still a shield. And so when I was like lying down on bed rest, like hair greasy, not washed for like a couple days and no makeup on, I thought I couldn't lead. I thought like, okay, my team is gonna see that I'm a complete fraud, imposter syndrome, there's no way I'm gonna be able to influence anything. And the thing that happened that was really interesting is that they saw a side of me they hadn't seen before, and they started relating to me in a very different way. They started opening up a little more. They started like really trying to let me help and helping me in vice versa. And so when I came back to work, I definitely put back the high heels. I put back the makeup clearly, but it was important to realize that like my confidence didn't need to depend on that in a male-dominated environment. It was something that was much more grounded in my skills, and I think that was important.
I love it. And I apologize, I asked that great question. And of course, we are out of time. But that is okay because some of our panelists will be downstairs. Remember, we got this networking event. Don't let the word network fool you. It is just a connect. Let's get there. Let's have some fun. Let's talk to everybody. Utilize the people in this room and some of the people on this stage. So I want to make sure everybody goes down there. But one more round of applause for our panelists today.
The technical reasons I came over were all about the new features and the abilities of things that I didn't have on the other platform that I was on.
The video games is what brings you in initially.
We got a lot of cool bells and whistles.
But when I got here, I found a community of people that were there because they wanted to create a safe space, a fun space.
Community in Mixer is amazing.
The community, to me, is top-notch.
These people become my friends.
We know each other.
People respect more. Everyone wants everyone to do well.
Mixer definitely has a place for everyone.
I'm known for being sassy.
Being super obnoxious, overboard, some would say. I like to be explosive.
We're crass,
goofy.
I'm really good at losing.
I'm big and I'm animated.
We're crazy.
Watch my stream to find out how not to play a video game.
But whatever it is,
stay real.
Every streamer has an independent personality.
They like me for me. They accept me for who I am.
And there's always someone there who can help you.
We're here, we have you.
Community does go into the real world.
Random acts of kindness, it just feeds off of itself.
It's giving in a very social way.
We're kind human beings. That's what this community is all about.
And it just passes along, passes along, passes along. Spreading love is easy.
It's not just me.
It's powerful.
It's not just me, it's all of us.
All for one and one for all.
And that's why Mixer's awesome.
It feels like a big family.
It's all one giant family, and no matter what you do, you can always find a way to help each other out. That's kind of the point. We just keep mixing it up. That's why it's called Mixer.